you're listening to the Mackay T Show podcast. Here are your hosts, Brian Mackay and T Davis.
What time is it?
It's time for the Mackay T Show.
What time is it?
I said it's time for the Mackay T Show.
Welcome back to the Mackay T Show podcast. Steve, how was your weekend?
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. I saw movies I hadn't seen. I hang out with my people, and this is virtually people. Y'all know I ain't out in these streets like that, but it was wonderful. I even had some pizza, Brian. How about that? You know, I had pizza.
Pineapple and chicken?
No, just cheese.
Oh, just cheese. Okay.
Just cheese.
I took a shot.
You know, I don't eat chicken, first of all.
I know. I just want to see how far back you went.
First things first. You know, I ain't eat no chicken.
Oh,
no offense, chickens out there over the world.
Well, over the weekend, and we had a couple of conference tournaments for the women's basketball, NCAA women's basketball. Conference tournaments went down and finished up. And before we get to the ones that are finished, let me get to one that is still ongoing. And shout out to Troy, women's basketball. Y'all gonna kill me. Y'all trying to kill me, first of all. And y'all trying to get my girl Courtney Simmons. Shout out to you, assistant coach at Troy. I know she listens sometimes. So I want to give her a shout out and tell her congratulations on her. She got twins coming in August. And she's sitting over there on that bench right now, her team trying to make her go into labor early by the way they are playing. Because they went in number one in the Sun Belt, and they have had they went into overtime in their first game. And then yesterday, they tried to go into overtime again because it just went right down to the wire. But that's honestly how they play and how the Sun Belt is. It's real balanced this year. But they're one of those teams. They lead the country in rebounds. They in offensive rebounds. They're just playing up and down. They just real sporadic. They get up in there. They try to get between 90 and 100 points every game. I mean, it's just the way they play. It's fun to watch, but it's also nerve wracking when you pulling for them. So shout out to them. Good luck in their championship today down there in Pensacola. As far as other conference tournaments, we had the ACC final. NC State and Louisville went down to the wire. Raina Perez with the jumper with 2.1 seconds left put NC State ahead. It was a beautiful back and forth game. You had all the stars showing out. You had Elisa Cunane for NC State with 20 points and 9 rebounds. Dana Evans played her butt off for Louisville, the 2-time ACC Player of the Year. You had it all going. Those two I'm saying it now, those shoes should definitely be in consideration and probably should, in my mind, be number one seeds going into the tournament. I know they're both in the same conference, and the committee likes to spread the wealth a little bit, but those two should definitely be number one seeds.
Yeah, they know. Go ahead.
Last night we had Stanford and UCLA in the Pac-12 championship. Stanford won that one going away 75-55. Michaela Onyenwere for UCLA had 30 points, but it was not enough to overcome Stanford. Just onslaught. They can score at every position. I mean, it's crazy. Haley Jones, Kiana Williams, Lexi Hole, Fran Belibi, who everybody knows from, the girl you see on YouTube dunking all the time. They're a stacked team. They're definitely another number one seed going into the tournament. But yeah. So let me get to the conference tournament. Look, and I'm sorry I'm biased, but the conference tournament of the day, the SEC, where we had South Carolina defeating Georgia 67-62, and was another good close game all the way through. Georgia had their chances. They probably wish they could have a few things back as far as fouls here and there, and just a couple of missed shots. And you see what happens to you when you can't, you miss a shot here and there, and where it kind of hurts you.
Well,
But
Brian, I didn't watch the game, so when I don't get to I don't watch a lot of basketball anymore. Unfortunately, I looked at Michigan State a little bit. They were on CBS. Anyway,
mhm.
that was the boys though, the young
Right,
men.
that was a good game too.
The look, I used to go to the stats. So everything pretty equal about the stats, One thing that I did appreciate that I'm so tired of is I appreciate that they didn't shoot a lot of threes. I don't know if that's by design or if they were running off the three, but South Carolina only shot six threes and Georgia only shot 11. I was just
Mhm.
like, I'm so tired of people that's just chasing threes because most people ain't good shooters. Y'all, Stephen Curry and Harden them don't make people think, oh, that's the way to go because Golden State. Anyway, the difference in the game was the free throw line.
Right.
South Carolina 18 to 25, Georgia 6 or 9. So then I'm thinking, well, the fouls must gonna be disproportionate, but they weren't. So I don't really know how this. Maybe Georgia was fouling in shooting position all the time because it was only foul difference. Georgia had 19 fouls called personal fouls, and South Carolina had 14. So I was
Yeah,
like, I wonder what this game looked like because I thought the fouls would be way more lopsided when I saw they shot 25 free throws and they only shot 9.
the I mean, South Carolina gets a lot of free throws. One, because Aaliyah Boston is a beast to handle in the post,
That's
and
the kid that had 30 something or 27 or something like
yeah,
that.
and they have guards who. This is why you didn't see a lot of 3 pointers. They don't have a lot of shooters, and they're not known for shooting. They are slashers, driving to the goal. They get to the goal, get fouls, and
Okay,
that's
so let's start with that.
mhm.
Say it again. They don't have a lot of shooters. Who got a lot of shooters, Brian? These people, you shoot enough of them, you gonna make some. But
Yeah.
what team you seen just be lights out? Not
It's not a
many.
lot of them. It's not.
Exactly. So stop
Mhm.
shooting threes like you watching Golden State, and this the new era of basketball to spread the floor and shoot a bunch of threes. No, stick to what work. Mid range shot. You use the three if you got it. You wide open maybe, but anywho, congratulations, South Carolina. Good luck, CC teams. Know if the Gators gonna make it. You think Ole Miss will make it
Oh
into
no.
the tournament, the dance?
Uh, I don't. They
What?
made a
How many
nice
wins they
run.
got?
They got 11 wins now. 11 win. Actually, I think with their loss to Tennessee, which was another close battle, had their chances in. They're 11-11, so they're 500.
Oh yeah, no, y'all going to NIT, but y'all winning any championship is good. So go in there and win that, and don't be looking crazy because you didn't get
Yeah.
invited.
And if they do, if it is the NIT form, then they should do just what you said. Take it and be motivated. They have a young squad that'll all be back next year. I mean, just go in there, win that NIT, come on home with something because the way they ended the season is just something special. They have too much momentum right now to not go out there and at least compete, no matter where they're put. So,
I'm not
and
there
that's
and
my
win
alma
that.
mater. So I gotta be unbiased.
Where's
Sorry.
mine too? That like you doing something special, Brian. I got
Two degrees. You got two
some
degrees.
look some degrees from there as
Some,
well.
yes, yes, indeed. But the reason I ended with the South Carolina and Georgia game is because of the social
Oh
media and
yeah, the foo foo.
the craziness that happened off of some comments made by Don Staley. And it has to do with the fact that this is the first time in SEC history that two African American women uh, were coaching against each other.
Them going
And,
head to head in this championship.
and of course, as soon as that's and all it was, and all Dawn was doing was just lamenting the fact and championing the fact that this was happening because it was a big deal. Honestly, it's the first time it's ever happened. It's 40
And it
years of this
shouldn't be the
tournament.
first time, Brian.
40
The
years of
first
this
time.
tournament.
SEC 100 years old. Okay,
Yes,
maybe
and
not 100.
this
But
tournament itself is 40 years old, and this is the questions that I saw being asked. And basically, why can it be enough that they're women? Why is it always about race? And this is things that I was asked myself by many people, and this is my response to them.
tell them, Brian, teach it.
Two women coaching in the SEC tournament finals has happened before. We got 1982, Terry Hall at Kentucky versus Pat Summitt at Tennessee. 1991, Sue Gunner at LSU versus Pat Summitt. You're going to hear Pat Summitt's name a lot. I apologize,
Pat.
people.
Rest in peace,
2000,
Pat.
2000, Sharon Fanning from Mississippi State versus Pat Summitt. 2005 and 2006, we had Pokey Chapman versus Pat Summitt both years. 2009, Melanie Dockham at Vanderbilt versus Nell Fortner. 2012, Nikki Caldwell versus Pat Summitt. And 2015 was Dawn Staley versus Holly Worley. Now that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times in a 40-year history of this tournament that two women have done it. So that's just saying something by itself.
Right. That's bad enough already.
Secondly, it's and the biggest point I'm making here is the first time two African American women have been in coaching against each other in this tournament finals, and for the longest time. And I know this to be true because I remember back in the day when I was younger, I heard this rhetoric being spewed. African American women, when it comes to coaching, have long been as seen as recruiters to get
That's
black
right.
athletes, never really taken seriously as head coaches. Dawn and Joni have shown that this mindset is tired and played out. They can be more, and they are more, and that's why what happened yesterday was a big deal.
Right.
I'm sorry. I felt some
The
type of way
majority
about it.
of women's basketball players, I don't know now, but I know back when I was playing and before then, were black athletes.
Yeah.
So why couldn't a black woman rise from being athlete to a coach? Like you said, they were always recruiters.
Mm-hmm.
We gonna get y'all to get more black players to come, but y'all ain't smart enough to coach, I guess. And all the
Right.
white men that don't coach, we still don't have any women inside. Ain't that interesting?
Well, see, and that's where we go to. I mean, that
And I'm talking about
mindset. Yeah.
the NCAA. Well, the NBA at least trying, but they got what, 2 now?
Yeah. Well, and that's where
So
that mindset of people wanting LeBron and them to shut up and dribble. And the whole tagline, more than an athlete, that's being promoted out there now.
mhm.
They're trying to get you to understand that they are more than just athletes. Because for years, that's all they were thought of as dumb athletes. You know, they can play a game. But they shouldn't be able to think.
Yeah, I'm curious as to what was the mindset like because white women were coaching for a while,
Mhm.
getting head jobs. I wonder what was the they can't do nothing but recruit like that. Anyway, I don't know. I You right,
No,
Brian.
you're right the way you're saying it. You put it out there, and it's right to be questioned because
I, it's crazy. Oh, we good enough to play, but not good enough to coach. Interesting. Except to be an assistant coach.
you especially are someone who is African American, female, played was an athlete, and you're one of the smartest people I know, and I know a
Well,
lot of
thank
people.
you. I know something. I don't know a
Let's
lot of
say
everything.
most educated. Because being educated can mean a lot of things. You can be understanding that you don't know
Right, right,
everything,
right,
and
right,
you
right.
know how to find it if you need to find the information.
I'll look it up. You right.
Thank you. So yeah,
Books. Reading is
I
fundamental, Brian.
that
Oh, sorry.
and I didn't even push the chanting and ranting, but that was my chanting
Oh,
and ranting for today.
well,
Uh,
okay, Brian. You know, one thing that I wanted to chant and rant about, and it's an old game that I don't play. You probably don't play it, and We all probably have played it and ain't thought about it. Good old hangman.
Oh my.
Brian. Exactly.
Mm.
Why are we playing hangman, Brian? Why is that okay and seemingly fun to guess something, and if you don't guess it, there's going to be a figure hanging from this little, line, whatever that thing you draw to make the beginning of the game. Brian, why would that ever be seen like something fun? We kind of know probably where it came from. I don't really know where Hangman came from, but we probably know, right? Let's
Yeah,
play
I have
Hangman.
some ideas.
Let's play Hangman. What? Let's play Hangman. What is that? Oh, no. And the reason it came in my head, because it's a movie called Hangman out there that I came across. And as the movie began and they showed, somebody draw the lines where you spell out your little word, where you have your word where the letter's gonna go, and it's like, wait a minute, why would this ever be a game? Could we find something else to do So Hangman, I don't know. I don't know if kids play that today, but that was something that I know I played.
I know growing up I played it, yes. I don't know if
And
it's still something that's being
I
played,
hope
but
we don't
yeah,
play it no more.
yeah, because when you know better, you should do better.
Yeah. Number two, if you're gonna tell a story, please tell us what happened. If you're gonna say you've been, you know, treated wrongly or somebody used a racist slur, just say what it is. 'Cause I actually came across a story about Westernly Peace. Well, I don't know. Some school, Western Peace.
William Peace.
William Peace, see how I make up
Hmm.
name.
That's
Never
okay.
heard of William Peace. But apparently one of the young people on the team been playing and called some that she didn't like, and it sounded like it was race related. Couldn't figure out why. She said she was getting flagrant fouls, or technical fouls rather.
Right.
Um but she was complaining to the ref and telling him, whoever listened, that like what was happening. But no, there was no repercussion for the other team or the other team member or members that said whatever that was offensive. Then some kind of way she got a 4-game suspension. I don't know what that was.
I
And
mean, honestly, there wasn't a lot of information to go off on. You basically had to deduce from lack
and that's what
of.
I wanted her to say. Brian McKay called me a monkey
Why?
while we
Why?
was playing basketball at the University of Boogaloo College and whatever. Like,
Right.
don't be out here. Somebody said this, and we went to the whoever and the conference and the team. Put it out there. Otherwise, don't, because I don't want to be having to speculate. And maybe whoever wrote the article shouldn't have written it until they had more information.
Correct. Right. There's some journalistic elements here that need to be addressed as
Yeah,
well.
maybe they shouldn't have put it out there.
Right.
So then I'm going on, and I don't. It had to be because race, because it seemed race always seemed to be a part of the equation. Now the what we call it, poet laureate, she getting poor profile trying to get to her young black lady, just trying to go to her apartment. Security guard pull up. Do you live here? What? You look
Hmm.
suspicious. That girl 5 feet tall, maybe 100 pounds on a good day. What is suspicious about her?
The color of her skin. I can go. I'll answer that for you.
I, I was just like, what?
Because that's the
You
only
go
thing
from,
about Amanda Gorman that would
yeah.
be that you could even deduce as being suspicious.
Well, you went from being held as, the great poet, the youngest poet to do inauguration. Now you suspicious because you trying to walk to your house.
Let's see how they see how one day you're on top of the world, the next day you're underneath.
Fear for your life. Because if he
Yeah,
go left with this, ain't no telling what happened.
Right.
Um, it was hold on, it was something else around this. Oh, back to if you ain't gonna tell all the story. Look, I ain't watched the Meghan Markle and the dude's interview yet. Um,
That'd be Prince Harry for anybody who wonder who dude is.
yeah, the dude, that's the dude that's married to Meghan. Look, I need y'all to tell it how Ti is. I know y'all ain't trying to burn no bridges where no more than already been burned, because you know when you burn a bridge, Brian, you can't go back across it either.
Mhm.
It ain't like it's a one way deal. You burn it, or at least if you burn it down, you know you be skeptical of walking across, especially if it's a wood bridge.
Right.
Anyway, um, but from my understanding, Megan talked about some things. Oprah asked her some questions around, you know, how she was treated, and she didn't want to talk. Well, I don't want to hear it. Like I need to know the details. What you don't left them? What they gonna do to you? You don't left the young man gone with you, and he was probably happy to get out of the foo. He was like, "Oh, it's my way out."
Yeah, because he
'Cause-
wasn't going. I mean, he knew he wasn't going to be next in line anyway. So.
right. And all you do is run around and all these things you gotta do, and you gotta add this protocol, and you have to eat like this and walk like this and have your chest like this, and you can't do this because you are the prince and whatever. Who want to live like that? And then
I
you
don't
really
know.
ain't even got no power, Brian. The
No,
queen
you
ain't
want,
got no
but
power over there. She
nope.
just the queen.
She just a figurehead.
But I'm gonna hold her feet to the fire because some of the stuff that that young lady had to deal with, it was now she did say that the queen was nice to her.
Mhm.
However, like I told my mama, shout out mama, the queen, if she is as powerful and respected in her domain, she could have told them, leave this girl alone. I don't want to hear tell. Look, I don't want to hear tell of y'all bothering her. I need y'all to help her. Y'all know she not from this, because apparently the prince was he is he a prince or is he got another title?
No, he's Prince Harry.
Prince
Hmm.
Harry is trying to teach her the etiquette and the national anthem and all this other stuff because they weren't trying to help her to succeed. I guess they wanted her to fail or look bad. And I say they, like the surrounding staff. Apparently, the other princess, whatever his name is, his wife, she too hot to try. Wink, wink. she she think too highly of herself, and she was mean to the young lady as well. But the queen could have been like, "Look, let me call a meeting right now. This is stopping right here and right now." The end. Because I'm
Right.
sure some of the house people, what you call them, the maids and the what's the man called? It was a whole book on it. I meant movie Oprah did with the butler and all
Butler.
them.
Yeah.
Because have you seen Downton Abbey?
I have not.
Okay, so I watched the first season. They messy. Cause a lot of Downton Abbey, even though I'm gonna say the top side, where the rich people and the king, queens, or whoever, and they show a lot of the, I'm gonna say underbelly for lack of a better word, like what happens in the kitchen with the kitchen staff and the maids, butlers, the all that. You would think the butlers and all them, like they had, like there's a head butler and there's a head maid woman or whatever you call her name, but they were just as messy. I was like, y'all gonna be messy. Y'all all servants. So if you're gonna tell the story, just tell it. Brian did this. This is what he says. I'm not really curious, but why did y'all bring up the whole whatever Tom Brady did or didn't say to old boy Beckham? Not Beckham. Honey Badger. You remember it was a
Right.
whole thing with that.
Right. Yeah.
If you gonna say what you said, say it with your chest.
Mm. Yeah. I don't know. Like I told you before we came on here, I had not seen the interview yet. I'm gonna check it out later on this week. But I just feel like if you gonna say something, if you gonna come on air and to speak about it, speak about it.
Yeah, and again, it could be as far as the young lady at the peace school. It could have been the editor should have told whoever did the article not to, like, we need more information. Like, this is really vague and we can't tell much. Because when I first read it, I was like, I don't even know what I'm reading. Like, I don't know what's happening right now. Like, I was a little
Yeah,
confused.
when you sent it to me, I was reading along and I went, why do I feel like I had to go back because I feel like I missed something. I said, did I miss something? I had to go back
Right.
and read it again. I was like, no, just wasn't there.
And so when I listened to the audio, I was like, oh, okay. I think I might have more information, but still, I don't write the article.
Mm-mm.
Don't write the article.
You have any more ranting to do?
No, but we can talk about some stuff that kind of correlate with the black women and having a first one head to head in the SEC championship.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Because on Thompson, I read his book. Great
That's where
book.
I was
I
just getting
came from
ready
a
to
shadow.
go. Be you ready to go? Ready to go into
Oh,
John Thompson's
sorry.
book?
John
Yes.
Thompson.
Sorry.
I came from the shadow. he it's it's so good, Brian. You should read.
He said I came. I came as a shadow. I think it is.
I came as a shadow, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I ain't gonna tell you why it's titled that. When you read the book, you'll know why it's titled that. But when I was like, oh, that's why, because I was like, what kind of title? Um, he grew up so poor, Brian. I was just like, what in the world? I think a lot of people, grew up poor, or but this is a different level of poor. It's one thing, to have some struggles, but
Mm,
like the daddy didn't eat, and he didn't realize he got older, but the daddy would eat whatever left off their plate, and then he realized, oh, that he was making sure we ate, and then he would eat whatever was left over. Now some households that wasn't the thing, but that's how they ran their thing. His mom was smart. She went to school to be a teacher, but then couldn't find a job. Now he was born in D.C. area. His mom was daddy was born down close to Maryland or something. I didn't know
Oh,
he was Catholic.
so he
Didn't know he was Catholic.
basically was in that area his whole life.
Pretty much.
Wow.
He went to school there. He was loved baseball. Um, he he always wondered, or actually he said he used to get mad when they had to leave at the seventh inning, and
Mhm.
then he realized once again, oh, my dad got to get up early and go to work, so he couldn't stay the whole game. So they would leave, and then he started growing and growing, and I think he was 6 feet, something crazy in the fifth grade, something crazy, and the neighborhood people started like, "Hey, you need to be over here on the court." So then he started playing basketball. Was pretty good at it. Even taking a step back, he was told that he was retarded. Now that was his word, and that was the word they used to use. And if you look at the word retarded, it has a meaning that you would be like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." But now people offended with pretty much anything you say. Oh, that's not acceptable or correct. But retarded, if you know what the definitions is some people are retarded. Anyway, and um, his was because he couldn't read yet. And so he met the black teacher that was like, "You're not retarded, you just can't read." And so they worked with him, getting him somebody to help him. And he started to read, and he wasn't no academic scholar, but he read, and we see how accomplished he became. Got a degree, actually 2 degrees. Didn't know that either. He had a degree from. Did you know he went to Providence?
I did not.
Yeah, he had a degree from Providence. Said he met Red Auerbach when he was a little youngster. Red
Wow.
met him playing basketball and befriended him and started taking him to somewhere up there in Boston to. It was a little bit offensive. It was like taking him and some other black players to a country club where they worked in the day and then played basketball as entertainment for the white folks at night. I was like, I think I'm offended, but he didn't seem to be offended. He thought Red Auerbach was I won't say ahead of his time. A lot of people talk about him not being racist, him having black athletes, and standing up for not Will, shoot, Russell and
Bill
all that.
Russell. Hmm.
Russell before his time. But anyway, the good read. One thing that I just want to bring out, and we can talk about more of the book next time. But I totally forgot about 48 2. You remember that when that was a thing? They kind of don't call it that anymore, but they still have these rules.
Yeah, tell the people about it because I do remember
So
something about it.
Proposition 42, and I ain't gonna say it came out because of the success that he was having, but a lot of the athletes that he recruited, um, they probably wouldn't have gone to college, but he stayed around. It was called the Boys Club Number 2,
Right.
and that was predominantly black kids in DC area went there and played. Even before he started coaching, he would go back, after he went to the NBA. 'Cause he went to the NBA because he's one of the reasons Red Auerbach kind of, and I didn't tell you this, but Red kind of pushed him towards Providence because back then in the NBA, you kind of recruited in your area. Like you drafted from teams that was close to your team was. It wasn't like this big fiasco now where people run around the country and you might be in California and you might wind up with the Atlanta Hawks. No, so he went to Providence and then that's how he wound up on the Boston Celtics. And he said he never played a game because Russell played all the minutes. He said Russell never came off the court. Um, but Proposition 42. So once he did start coaching, um, he he would go back into the neighborhood like and get the good athletes, and they may not be like the best academians or ever, but they they could play. And he was like, he told them, "You are here to get a degree. I'm not gonna like I'm holding to the fire like I'm." And he kicked people out because
Mm.
they weren't going to class and do what they were supposed to do. So Proposition 42 was you had to have like a 700 on the standards SAT, and then you had to have at least a 2.0, I think, grade point average.
I think it was even
And,
higher than that because I feel like it was above like what you truthfully had to have to be eligible.
and so,
Oh,
but
yeah.
after reading this thing, I learned that according to the what I read, people that came up with the SAT and ACTs, it was supposed to be a addition to, not if you don't make this, if you don't do well on this test, you can't come to college. But
Hmm.
people pretty much, if you don't get a certain score on this test, it wasn't supposed to be kind of an all be all, which is almost used now. Like you could probably have a 2.0, but if you score 1500 or something, they'll be like, yeah, you can come in. Um, but that's not how the SAT and them were allegedly. Now that's what I read. Weren't designed to be used in that way. But a lot of people use ACT scores and SAT scores and ACT scores as like, oh, if you don't get this on that, um, then you really ain't ready for college. And we know how that test is biased, and if you're not a good test taker, you're not going to do well in it. And there's plenty of people that didn't do well in it, and they went on to have successful careers and get multiple degrees. Um, I mean, do you remember the kid at Ole Miss, the football player? No, it was like he couldn't read and all that, and then he went on and he graduated top of the class. Did well. So sometimes
Yeah.
people just need help, and they're in situations where they're in environments where the high school and the K through 12 system rather is just not good. So he challenged that. So when he was sitting out, I didn't know. I vaguely remember him sitting out of some games, but I really didn't know why.
Yeah, I didn't remember it, but watching the documentaries and things, I thought that was pretty interesting.
So he decided to boycott a game. He went to the president and the athletic director. He had good relationships with them. And remind me, I'll tell you another whole time how he got the Georgetown job. But he and I'll make sure to bring my book so I can read some of the quotes because he has some great quotables. Uh he was like, okay, I'm gonna sit out a game because I don't think this is fair to specifically black athletes. Like this is almost a target to them because not gonna have people that can help them, practice taking the test and any of that. And so it's like gonna keep them from in the college or having this opportunity. He set out a game and then he said he like a lot of other black coaches and even some white coaches was like, hey, we gonna boycott. We can just boycott. He was like, no, wait, no, we not gonna do that yet. Just hold your horses. He was like, he was gonna decide if he was gonna boycott another game. And he was like, the threat of a boycott for the NCAA is even worse than knowing that it's gonna happen. So he just wanted to lead them out there like, oh Lord, we gotta do something. Ultimately, I think he set out one more game. And then, because his whole team was ready to boycott. He said the young man that was on his team at that time was like, oh, well, we'll boycott. And he was like, no, you going to play.
Yep.
I'm going to boycott and take the brunt of this. And then the NCAA changed it. And I think Prop 48 became the new thing, or partial qualifiers where kids had to sit out their freshman year, get their grades together, and then they could play, something to that effect. So he was really the big impetus for the changes that the NCAA made around that. And I was like, I had no idea. But the last thing I talk about that I found was interesting, and this is about race. So if you don't want to hear about race, I guess you probably need to turn the show off.
Or at least fast forward until we
Right,
get to.
go to the next piece. He was considered the big bad wolf. He didn't call himself that. He was intimidated, and his teams were, rough and tumble, for lack of a better word. But when the white coach was, oh, he's just, tough. He's being assertive. But every time it came to him, it was something bad. It was something bad about it. And he knew, he was like, it was because I'm black and I'm 6'10". He was like, I'm not threatening. Like anybody that know me, like I'm not that guy. So it was interesting. It's a great read when you hear how he wound up with Allen Iverson, whom he didn't even recruit. I didn't even know that he didn't recruit Allen Iverson. He didn't. He said he didn't. He said I didn't know that he could play. I was like, what?
Wow.
Yeah, he said he didn't know that he could play. I'm gonna go ahead and tell this story. I can tell about the Kimbe. That's a funny story too. We'll say that for next week. He said that, anybody, if you don't know, Allen Iverson was from Virginia. I want to say Norfolk, but he's somewhere from
Newport
Virginia.
News.
Newport News, okay. Virginia. Played, star athlete, football, basketball, played all. He gets into, well, he didn't do anything. There's a fight that breaks out. Race relations are not good in Newport News at this time. They may not be now. Fight at the bowling alley that he was at as well. Like it was kind of a hangout place for all of the kids. The video camera, the man said, shows him leaving, because I watched the documentary. He leaves. I don't guess the white people liked him for some reason, because they came for him, and they came for him with all kinds of charges as to around who got hurt in that fight. Actually, it was more of a brawl. It wasn't even a fight. A brawl broke out.
Yes.
He was about to go to jail for God knows how long. All of the scholarship offers that he had went dry. They was like, nope, not bringing him, not bringing him. Then he had some 13 charges, bro. Hold on.
It was a bunch. I remember that.
It was some kind of crazy number of charges brought against him, and he was on the verge of going to jail. And so the governor at the time, I think, intervened and was like, okay, wait a minute, y'all don't went too far with this. And so he was, I don't want to use the word pardon, but he got off of that, but he still didn't have any where to go, because they all the schools stop recruiting him. His mom reached because people knew John was trying to help black athletes that for low income areas and all
Yeah.
to have an opportunity to go to college. His mom and some, I don't know if it was some family members or whoever, come up to Georgetown and like they in the meeting. It's like, can you take him and can he play for you? And he like, well, And then he said one of the guys is like, can you coach a guard? And he looked at him like, y'all coming in here to ask me to help him, but then you gonna question me about can I coach a guard? Because at that time he had like Alonzo Mourning, Patrick Ewing, and he had big players that were successful,
Right.
but he didn't have And then he was like, like people kind of forgot that he coached Michael Jackson, Sleepy Floyd, and some other guards that went on to have long NBA careers. And so then he said the mom kicked them out of the room, and basically was like, Coach Thompson or Mr. Thompson, if you don't take him, they're going to kill my boy.
Yeah.
And that touched his heart because he a mama's boy. Well, I don't want to call him a mama's boy, but he loved his mama. He as in Coach Thompson.
Right.
And he was like, okay, like that touched him, and he was like, he kind of understood what she was saying. Like, if he stay in that environment, and don't go anywhere, people gonna be mad that he got off, and God knows what kind of thing would have happened with him. So he took it and he said, I didn't even know if he could play. But then apparently Georgetown had some little tournament they had for freshmen that would play in, and he said he dropped 30 or 40 the first game, and it was like, okay, we got something here.
Yeah. We should get some more into that next week because I feel like there's a lot more stories to be told.
Oh my God, yeah, he talked about a lot. That Dikembe story is hilarious. Go ahead.
Okay. But real quickly, let's. I have three. Saying well, actually two in a possible.
Yeah, it's three in a possible. This ain't spades.
It's two in a possible because I can't remember. I think one was said already. And I can't remember. My brain just, and I didn't go back and listen to see if it was already said. But sayings that make no sense. Did you say that dog won't hunt?
No, I ain't said the dog won't hunt.
Okay, so all right. I put that one down, but I had a question mark about it because I couldn't remember if you said it or not. Yeah, that dog won't hunt.
It's a whole bunch of dog ones out here. Yeah. I don't know what's up with that.
And then another animal one I had was just because a cat has her kittens in the oven, don't make them biscuits. That never made no sense.
I heard that before, and I was like, matter of fact, I think John Thompson's got that in that book for real. I was like, first of all, why are we putting kittens in the oven? I'm uncomfortable.
Never understood. Nope.
I'm uncomfortable.
And my third one that I just have never understood, and I've heard it, and I've even said it, just because it's just something that you just grew up saying. I'm going by your house later. Well, you ain't gonna come in. You just going by. What's the? I don't understand. I'm going by your house later. You don't know. You don't.
I'm coming by.
It's I'm going by your house. Or, I mean, you could say I'm coming by. I guess I'm going by. It's how I've always heard it said.
Oh, I ain't heard you. Yeah, I'm coming by later.
It's more of a Louisiana version of it. So
Brian,
what you got?
A hard head makes a soft tail. What? Why?
What?
You ain't never heard that?
I damn, but I did.
But what? Why is a hard head making your butt soft?
Mm-hmm.
And ain't your butt soft already? I hope your butt ain't hard. I was like, what are we doing? It's like pulling teeth. Well,
yeah, I've always heard that one, and I always wondered why. If it hurts that much, why do it?
Right, but who has the experience pulling teeth, Brian? Who had this experience? It ain't a lot of us that got this pulling teeth experience. So I don't know how we talking to him was like pulling teeth. And I don't say this. And a lot of these that came out is because I had said them. I was like, oh, I gotta write that down. Friend, she big as a house, or he big as a house. Now, come on,
It's Lord.
come on now, Brian. Now we talking about a house, Brian. Ain't nobody that big as a house. What? Can we not say maybe big as a refrigerator? And I know, but that's something a human could probably be big as, right? I can't.
She pretty big. Good Lord.
I got a bunch of them. Let me see. That one makes sense. I'll be balanced because I try to be balanced, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hit dog always holler. That's a good one, right? That makes sense. Get hit, the dog get the dog gonna make a noise.
Yeah.
If you use it correctly, it works.
Right.
I don't know why if we can't beat them, join them. I don't know what that is.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay. I'm not really comfortable if I can't beat them, we're gonna keep trying to beat them.
Because as you remember, that was said in the movie we're about to review.
Well, if you can't beat them, join them. But let's move on to the movie because I don't even remember that being said. But
it was a small part right at the end when the barbershop guys were sitting there fussing about Randy Watson. And he finally, one guy, he said, you can't beat him, join him. And he just starts clapping.
Lord have mercy. Yeah, I don't know about can't beat him, join him. But maybe that's something Durant can tell us about.
Yeah.
That was probably, that was messy, but that's what it was.
And James Harden and Blake Griffin, for that matter.
Yeah, Blake was on the offer team. I don't know how much Blake gonna play, but oh yeah, he did say he was joining the Nets.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck with that.
Well, coming to America.
Oh, say
yes.
Can you see? Go ahead.
Wow. Man, so first of all, let me just say, if you did not enjoy this movie, I'm sorry. I enjoyed every second of it.
That's your problem.
I got exactly what I wanted from it. Nothing was out of place. You gave me all the nostalgia from the first movie.
Exactly.
And you just made me laugh and laugh and laugh all the way throughout. They had the longest running joke in movie history. 30 years later, and that sister of Hakeem left at the altar was still barking like hopping. A dog and hopping
in the same dress.
In the same dress.
In the same dress.
Oh my God. Wesley Snipes was beautifully cast as General Easy.
Spoiler alert! So yeah, we finna tell. So if you haven't seen it, you probably need to skip.
Right, and come back.
So yeah, the beauty of it was how they pulled Easy's family back into this one. Cause we didn't know what happened to Easy after, like he had left and went to America and came back and married the girl, and we didn't know what happened with that whole situation. But go ahead.
Yeah, that never got resolved in the first movie. But yeah, they had General Easy's son, General Easy, obviously, and then Wesley Snipes played him, and then his sister was the one that was left barking like a dog and hopping. She's still going at it all these years later.
Yeah.
But the premise of the movie basically was that Akeem finds out he has a son. What kind of son was it?
A bastard son.
So he finds out through, the shaman, the witch doctor, whatever you want to call this man, who saw a vision of his son, and
the picture looks just like.
Yes. So this is how it all went down.
And the king was dying too, though, Brian. So that's kind of why it was important as well, because the king was about to die,
James Earl Jones, Joffrey Jaffer, was on his way out, which we'll get to in a second. But I just want to get
Mhm.
to the premise of the movie. Uh, so Akeem goes back to America to find his bastard son, and what happens is he finds out that if you remember in the first movie, they had the scene from the club where they were going, meeting all kind of different women,
You can
and
feel me in the club.
yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So that night, Simi, always getting into some mess, talks these women into, and talks
A
this one
hookup
woman
with
into
them.
and hook up with Akeem. Well, the woman that he
Him and the
talks
king,
into it.
he got him one too. They were
Well,
standing
that
together.
what his whole purpose was. He wanted something for himself at that point. So he got him a woman, got Akeem a woman. Well, Akeem's woman is Leslie Jones, as we know her today, from SNL fame, which she was beautifully cast. She was perfect for the baby mama.
Just a
And
mess.
yes, so that all goes down. Well, back in before he leaves to come over and find his son, the daddy's dying. Joffrey Jaffer is dying, and they have literally a memorial service while he's still alive.
In the casket.
Laying
Standing
in the
in the
casket,
casket.
standing
Standing in
straight
the
up.
casket.
Yes, I'm talking about Morgan Freeman,
Morgan Freeman is, I
Salt
was
and
just,
Pepper, In
I
Vogue,
can't.
Gladys Knights. They had so many cameos at this memorial service.
Yes.
Oh man, so that was good. That was a good time. Then, McDowell's is in Zamunda. They have a McDowell's in
Yes.
Zamunda now. Yeah, so all that's
The white
all
guy
that was
that was working there when he was
Louis Anderson still working
Louis
there
is
all these
still
years.
working. I
Yeah,
was felt bad for Louis. I was like, Louis, you ain't came up. You
yeah.
still working at McDonald's?
So, speaking of
The
white,
McFlurry.
the long running joke when you had the Duke and Duke brothers in the first one as basically downtrodden, living on the street, homeless, and Akeem gives them money in the first movie.
Yep.
Fast forward to this
Mortimer,
movie,
we're back.
their, their grandson, played by Colin Jost from Saturday Night Live, who was beautifully cast, is the guy who is interviewing Akeem's bastard son for his job interview.
Yeah, now he
Perfect.
running the
Oh, that was
company.
hilarious.
And they show
And
us a picture of him because otherwise you wouldn't know. So they made sure
right.
we see that his
Uh,
uncle.
yeah, and the uncle for the bastard son, played by Jermaine Fowler, who was very, very good. And I didn't realize was actually friends with Eddie Murphy's son, which is kind of how he got that role.
Mm.
Um,
It
but
ain't what you know, it's who you
yeah,
know.
but Tracy Morgan played his uncle, which was another
Hilarious.
hilarious piece. Um,
Hilarious.
trying to think while I'm sitting here struggling. Like I ain't seen it 3 times. Let's see. Um, when they go back to I want to call it Wakanda so bad, Zamunda. Uh,
Exactly. Hilarious.
First of all, Ruth Carter, the designer of all the outfits and everything, she does such a good job. She did Black Panther as well, and I believe she did the first Coming to America way back. She just wasn't as well known then. She did a very good job in this movie as
Well,
well.
let me tell you, this is the problem. Let's take a pause.
Okay.
The only problem with kind of using the same, and I know it is what it is, but because of the high definition, that gold looks so cheap.
Well,
Like
like you
low
said,
definition,
and obviously T and I watched this together, but like T said, we were watching that black crown was a lot better than the gold.
that black crown was so much
Yeah.
better. I was like, I wish y'all had stuck with that and used that as like black diamonds or black something because that gold, I was like, man, it didn't look that cheap back in 85, whenever that came out. Let's see when it
Now,
go ahead, tell us. Let me see when it came out.
we got the Mighty Sharp barbershop guys all over again. Still, And Arsenio still eating off that plate.
Well, he had a new plate. Remember, he ain't had greens this time. He had green beans, so
Green
he don't
beans,
got a
yeah.
new plate.
He still eat off that paper plate though. It kills me. And they still in there debating boxing. This time it's an upgraded version. They're talking about Mayweather and Pacquiao and Conor McGregor instead of Joe Louis
Right.
and Rocky
And how he got
Marciano.
knocked out by Martin Luther King. But go ahead.
Yes. Oh my God. So that was hilarious. And obviously Randy Watson and Sexual Chocolate at the end was perfect.
Beautiful.
And the sisters, the
Except though he
twins.
did sound like Respucius. I couldn't
He
think of the
did.
name. I was like,
He did.
bruh, can you tell? Like, you need to tone that back and use your Dream Girl's voice.
Yes.
And
So yeah. But no, and the twins from the original movie.
my name is Peaches, and
Yes.
I'm the best. All the DJs want to feel my breath.
I
Yes,
mean,
when
I'm
they
telling
come
you.
out, Peaches them don't got thick too.
Yeah, they done got thick around the
Well,
waist.
whatever that name was, they came out rapping with Sexual Chocolate. I wasn't no good. I wasn't no good.
Oh man. But yeah, the way the movie ends with basically Akeem's daughter being the next heir to the throne, which is the way honestly it should have been. Because if you remember right in the first movie, he didn't agree with all the things that his kingdom and is all the long history of things, the way they've done things. He didn't agree with them. And
Right.
he was
So,
going to
the
change them
premise
all.
of the movie was that besides him looking for his son, as it goes on, you realize, like he realizes rather, that he's forgotten how
His
he
daughter.
ran off to make his own way and wanted to do things
Right.
differently from his father. But then he had pretty much turned in his father because he got 3 girls before he
Hmm.
even knew he had a son. And I don't really know what they had planned on doing, but he got thinking of her, this eldest, his firstborn as being, well, it turned out to be not his firstborn, but the eldest daughter
Yes.
being the queen.
And his bastard son would be a kind of like a liaison to America.
And we keep calling bastard son people for a reason. If you watch the
Yes, if you watch
movie,
the
you will
movie,
see
you'll
it why.
understand.
So yes, his bastard son finds him. Um, I don't need no handout. And Mercy knock that case over, which you see in the trailer. They like, oh, let's go.
Let me just ask you, and I'm not talking about ones that were in the movie before, talking about just purely in this movie. What was your favorite cameo?
Hmm.
Taking out Sexual Chocolate, taking out the McDowell's, taking out the Mighty
Well,
Shark.
how you taking out all them
I'm talking about just as far as new cameo to the movie. What
new
was your
people
favorite? Hmm.
in the movie? Hmm. I seen but one, so I don't remember everything that well. I like the movie overall. I I like that they brought all those people back and they showed us what happened to the queen, the prince that she hopping around, and King Izzy's son had beef with Eddie. And what's the young man that played in Ghost movie in the Ghost show? Um, he
Oh,
was he was
Rotimi.
Easy's boy. He was Easy's
Yes,
son.
Rotimi. Yes.
Bro, Timmy, yeah. He is Easy's son, and he wanted him to marry the girl before they figure out that he ain't had no. Before they figured out that he did have a son to be the heir, and he was like, "No, she ain't marrying her." Him. So overall, I just liked the whole movie. I thought it was fun, like it should have been. You can't
Thought
compare the two.
the most hilarious, obviously, not most hilarious, but one of my favorite parts of the show of the movie was the Moon News Network and
Oh Lord, what's
Trevor
his name?
Noah,
Trevor
Trevor
Noah.
Noah from the
Yes, that was
Daily
hilarious.
Show as Tatasi.
Yeah, That was hilarious. And they was making
Yes.
fun of Ta-Nehisi, I guess.
Oh my God, I laughed out loud. There was so many
Yes,
times I laughed out loud during this movie.
that
Mm.
was funny. That was funny. Um,
It
James
was.
from
It
Good
was.
Time don't got old. I mean, he obviously had to get old, but
Oh, and speaking of that was they used John Amos's character, Cleo McDowell, as a way to bring back. Obviously, the mother from the original movie passed away before this one was made.
right.
Um, but they used John Amos, Cleo McDowell's character
To
uh,
remind
to
us
remember,
that, yeah,
yeah, to remind Akeem of what
Akeem,
his
like,
mother
what
said
would
to
your
him.
mama would have said?
That was beautiful. Uh, and
Yes,
what even better about that scene was the fact that he was in there sweeping, mopping their floor like he was at the old McDowell's.
yeah, that was his
His
escape.
peace. Yes.
I like that they showed a little bit that the queen, what was her name? Hakeem's, who he married?
Lisa.
Lisa. So Lisa, we saw a glimpse that she was happy to see somebody from America because when her and Leslie,
When they got
what that
drunk, boy,
girl
they had
name
them
ain't
a good
yeah, when
time.
they got drunk, right, and having fun and singing, she was saying like she missed Queens a little bit. So I thought that was a cute little addition, and
Man, yes,
it
but
was
no, that
it
was a good
was a
movie.
solid movie. I mean, I had no expectation because I didn't know what they could do. Again, I like that they went to Africa and then try to keep it in America.
I'm actually glad they didn't do a version that was out there at one time when Ryan Coogler pitched, and Ryan Coogler would have been good as a director. He's good in everything he does, but he pitched a version of the movie where Michael B. Jordan was Akeem's son, and basically it was a redo of what happened before. Michael B. Jordan's character wants to go and sow his royal oats in America to find his queen, and I'm glad they didn't redo what they did already. I'm glad
They
it was a
probably could have
different
figured
story.
out a way, but they probably should have had him to go to some other part of the country, not back to America. Uh, yeah, I think the problem with for most people with the number two version
Mm,
is you put an expectation on the movie. Like there was no expectation when Coming to America came out. You know, it was a good movie. We laugh. We still say
mhm.
the lines. Um, they ain't nothing but a Jerry curl. A ultra perm. Ain't nothing but a.
Man, if they would have had him in this just for a
Mm,
quick cameo, I would have died.
we still remember them getting off the couch and the Jerry curl grease being on the back of the couch. Like you know, all that
Yes.
stuff. Like nobody knew that that would be such a hit. And so you come out with the second one, people like, okay, this is like you had this expectation. I don't know why. It's very few movies that can come back with as good or better number two.
No, you just have to accept them for what they are and understand.
Cause somebody texted me this morning. I can't wait to talk to them. Talking about it wasn't good. Don't waste your money. They said this is, and I quote: "Coming to America never should have come to America. One of the worst movies I've seen in a very long time. I think the best performance was given to a giraffe walking in the background. Please be
Uh,
careful before you waste your money on it." And I was like,
uh,
you clearly don't know me because I enjoyed this movie. I didn't expect it to be anything like the first one, and I enjoyed it for what it was, a fun movie for me to sit down and laugh.
because that's what we need in this world is more laughter.
Now, I could take less of Leslie Jones' character,
She is what she is.
and
I
it's
you know,
it's not about her being who she is because it's what I find I'm tired of is that like just because you queens are poor or whatever don't mean you have to be ghetto, and that's always the analogy that people pull when they do these comedy. Like she could have been funny without being so over the top. Like there are plenty of people, like she could have still been herself and funny, but some of the stuff she did was over the top. But I was just like, we can stop that now. We don't have to, be over the top to be funny anymore. Like you can be funny without all the extra. The way she talked, hey, Queen, and I was just like, that's kind of funny, but do we need that? Does that help our image as a people? Is that helping us move forward? Like, so some of that I was like, we could have moved forward on without we didn't need, but I still like the movie, and I still will watch it again.
Yes, I can't wait to get another viewing of it because, man. Oh, and make sure you stay all the way through the credits, people. They have outtakes, and then they have a special.
What time is it?
To be a queen to be forever.
But we're gonna get on out of here.
Do whatever.
Gonna sing us out.
Desire. She's your queen to be. A vision of perfection. An object of affection to quench your royal fire. Completely free from infection. To be used at your discretion. Waiting only for your direction. Your queen to be.
Whew. All right. Well, as always.
That's what I saw. You know I love Coming to America.
I know.
This is one of my favorite movies all time. You asked me my top 5. This is gonna be one of them.
I know it. But as always, I'm one of your hosts, Brian Mackay, and I am with.
I am T. If you speak what you seek, you'll see what you said. Davis.
Wink, 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 wink. And this has been the Mackay T Show podcast. Thank you for listening.
This is the Mackay T Show. This is the Mackay T Show. We talk movies and TV shows, sports and world news, coasting like on a world cruise. Hosted by Brian Mackay and T Davis. Yeah. You can't tame us. We're going to the top, we're becoming famous.
What time is it?
It's time for the Mackay T Show.
What time is it?
I said it's time for the Mackay T Show.